Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Grow with Evergreen. Today, our guest is Piers Dickinson. Piers runs a fantastic brand called Hyde Hare. It's a Scandinavian-led interiors brand focused around natural fibres. They sell some beautiful products and they have some marketing challenges, specifically creative when thinking about and scaling paid media and that all-important client retention. It's going to be a great topic, this one. We're going to have a lot of fun. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. All right, Khan, so here we are. How are you doing, my friend? You well?
I'm all right. Yes, not too bad. Thank you. Not too bad at all. How are you doing? How's your week been?
It's been very busy, as ever. I seem to say the same thing every week. It's been busy every week. It's just, how's your week been? Busy.
Busy. Yes.
Very busy.
Yes.
Agency life, I just think, is busy. Lots happening. The sun is shining.
Finally.
We're very busy. We've got lots going on, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, and I think it's just really interesting when it comes to agency life because actually, no day is the same, but all of a sudden, all of them, they blur into one.
Yeah, they do.
How
They do.
wild
The days
is
do.
this?
I think we've seen, in the last few weeks, things have really seemed to have picked up, don't they?
Yeah,
we had a slow start to the year, didn't we? And now it just seems to have really, everyone seems to have been going, marketing. I want to talk marketing. So, which is great. So everyone, we've been very busy the last few weeks. I've been darting all over the country. You've been running around.
Yes.
Busy recruiting.
And I think, this is probably one of the biggest sort of signs really that things are picking up. When you have to start recruiting, that's really when things are getting exciting, isn't it?
No, it is. And I think there's definitely some optimism in the air. We said it before, but there is definitely a lot of optimism out there right now. I think it's been tough for a lot of brands. In our space, they've had a tough time. They've had to double down and really work hard. And everyone seems to be a little bit more chipper.
Yes, well, more chipper. I think we had a very long winter as well, didn't we?
It did go on a bit, didn't it? It did go on. It was a very long winter, a very wet winter, wasn't it? Yeah.
Gosh, yes.
Now a lot of our brands that are in, that home garden where the summer is that key space, that key time. Sorry, that they are. I think everyone they're just breathing a sigh of relief, aren't we?
We are. Although our today's brand.
Well,
right,
there you go.
I'm not going to go any further with this one, but there is,
but
it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, so actually somewhat the opposite maybe for this brand. So you bring us nicely on to talking about our guest today, Piers. So Piers he's the founder of Hyde Hare. Fantastic brand, beautiful website,
absolutely stunning.
It is nice, isn't it?
For the last few days when we were getting prepped for the podcast, we kept looking at it over and over again, and I was just like, oh my god! I'm just like, literally, I thought I'm just going to just rinse my credit card in a minute.
I'm not letting Harriet see this, my wife. She will be the next customer. She will be straight on this. So don't tell her about.
No,
this.
I certainly won't. I mean, what you should probably do just block the domain on the router because. Honestly, if she even Googles it,
I think that's the credit card getting. Yeah, but no, it is. It's a beautiful. If you haven't checked out the website, it's hydeandhare.com. We'll include the link to it in the description of the pod.
Yeah,
but beautiful product. But we had a pre-chat with Piers, lovely guy,
fantastic. Yes,
and he's got some challenges.
He
Great
does.
brand. Very much sounds like in that scale up phase,
very much,
which is really that's our sweet spot, isn't it? Where a lot of the brands, I think actually that's a good point because a lot of the brands that we work with, we tend to work with a lot of brands that are in that what we'd call scale up phase, not startups. So they've already got traction, they're already trading, they've been going 3, 4, 5 years. They've passed those initial growing pains, but now they're into that next phase of like, we really want to kick on.
Yes.
We really want to grow and we want to grow with Evergreen. There you go. But it's really that kind of that phase. And these guys are at exactly that point of, they're doing a lot of things right, but they're hitting those pain points. They're hitting those bottlenecks, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think, at some point in your business life, you are going to hit that ceiling. And I think this is where you need to really sort of like zoom out and just have a look at your business, what you do, and just how to just almost jolt it back into that growth phase, isn't it?
It is.
And I think this is the probably biggest challenge of scaling when you just sort of
it's
really
knowing what to do. It's knowing what to do, what to prioritize. If we think about all the brands, the prospects, the clients we talk to, there's so many things you could do, but it's knowing what to do, where to put your effort, where to put your resource, where to put your money, where to put your time and effort. because there's so many channels, there's so many platforms, everything's a priority. Where do you start?
Yeah, and and I think, and we are seeing that this on a daily basis when we speak to our clients. So many brands are going to go out there and just start chasing that next best, most shiny things, thinking that it's silver bullet.
Yeah.
When
There's
in
always
reality,
a new platform, isn't there? There's always something new. There's always the next TikTok coming out.
Exactly.
There's always some new change, something that's updated, some new form of creative that's working. It's tough to keep on top of that. And if you're a small brand and you're an emerging brand and you're trying to push on, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, and what I keep saying over and over again, there is no such thing as silver bullet at all. But even if there was, it's very much down to people, because someone has to fire that silver bullet.
There you go. Oh, that's good. That is good. So come on, right. Tell us a little bit more about our guest today. So Hyde Hare, give us a little rundown. What sort of revenues they're doing, team members and so on?
Yeah, brilliant brand. At the moment, the monthly revenue sits around £40,000 a month. Then we've got 3 members of the team, and it's a scale up. There's plenty of room to grow.
We're going to get into, because I want to know what those 3 people are doing.
Yes.
And are those roles clearly defined and so on. And in the pre-chat, we spoke to Piers and we said he's last year did about 650 turnover. This year run rate looking at least 850 and wants to nudge it, get past that all important 7 figures, which is going to be fantastic. And I think if we sprinkle a little Grow with Evergreen magic, I reckon we can do it. That's today's challenge. That is the challenge.
It is, yes.
So
it is.
What has Piers noted down as his challenges then? Go for it. Run us through.
So it's I think this one is fantastic. So Piers mentions that his first challenge is creative on Meta and user-generated content.
What a hot topic that is.
It really is.
Both of them.
Absolutely.
Creative on Meta is evolving, is changing. So I'm not surprised that is a challenge, because it's been a challenge for us. Is what do we do? How do we innovate? Because that, how do we make sure that the creative is cutting through? Because it's noisy out there.
It is very noisy.
Everyone is advertising. Everyone is pushing their product. Everyone's got something to sell. So that's key. And then UGC, or user generated content, again, very hot topic.
Absolutely.
So they're great challenges.
Interestingly, this one really leans into his second challenge that he mentioned, which is essentially tracking the most important, most relevant metrics, whether using Triple Whale or using GA4.
Yeah.
And it's such an important part of it all as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If you're not getting accurate information out, leveraging your data, you're flying blind. And you just can't do that. Any other challenges?
Yes. So customer retention and essentially just getting more of those returning customers.
That's such a big one.
It is.
How many Tea Talks have we done? How many podcasts have we done where we're talking about exactly that retention piece, getting more from what you already have?
Yes.
Acquisition, never been more expensive.
No.
Gaining attention online, never been harder. Therefore, getting more out of what you already have. It's great that it's in there, and that's good. That is going to be a fantastic, really interesting part of this.
Yeah, and the good old Pareto principle. You get 80% of your revenue from 20% of your clients. So here you go. That's for you listeners.
What platforms is Piers using currently?
Well, so I'm quite excited about this one, because Piers has got quite a nice little tech stack down there. So he runs his e-commerce shop on Shopify.
Yep,
good. He essentially props it with Klaviyo for marketing and Triple Whale for analytics.
Yep.
And he also uses Pinterest, Meta, and Google for marketing.
Good stuff. We like that. What's his current marketing spend?
That's 10 grand. So that's quite healthy.
So he's spending a few quid. Target, we sort of touched on that earlier. He wants to reach that elusive 1 million.
Elusive 1 mil, exactly. So we
could do that for him.
Absolutely. And that's I think this is one of the goals that Piers has.
What he said his business looks like when it's finished?
Yeah, so when his business is finished, well, essentially he wants to be really well regarded and really well recognized within the space. So the brand awareness is something that he really wants. So effectively, I think Piers would like to become a household name.
I'm going to challenge him on that one because for me, that's not specific enough. I don't like that. For me, that's a bit fluffy. It's a bit woolly. I'm going to challenge him on that. He might not like it, but I'm going to challenge him on that because I think it's really important for brands to be really clear on what the end looks like. Whether that's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, paint a picture, what's the turnover look like? What are the people, what does the business actually look and feel like when it's finished? Because knowing that is so useful when then thinking and making decisions about, well, how are you going to get there? That's not specific enough for me. So I'm going
Absolutely.
to challenge him on that.
Yeah.
Did he have any questions?
Yes. So Piers sent us 3 questions, and well, the first question was very much what we touched upon with the one of the challenges. So when using the data, what kind of metrics he should be focusing on? So when reading the data, what is the almost the go-to, as he put it, North Star metric that he should be focusing on? The second question Piers sent was the best content creating for Meta, how often to change it, how often to update it, how to spot the content fatigue, and so on. So essentially, it's very much all around content.
Which is a great question. There's a lot of brands that don't know what is the right frequency to change. How often should I change my creative? So that's a good question. I like that one.
And another question Piers had was around that retention. So how to increase it and how to increase it holistically. So it's just not essentially from one channel, but just very much well-rounded.
There's a lot there. There's a lot here. We're gonna have to get our skates on to get through all of it. There's a lot here. Should we get him on?
Yes, absolutely.
Good stuff. Piers, are you there, my friend?
Yeah, brilliant. Hi, guys.
Good stuff, Piers. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure to have you on. We said at the top, we love the brand. We love the website. Do you want to just give us a quick 30 seconds who you are and what you do? Go for it.
Yeah, sure. So as you guys touched on, we're a very much Hygge-based brand. So it's a Danish style of living that we try to kind of encompass, I suppose, through our website, through our marketing, through that kind of lifestyle work we're going to create. So for people who don't know what Hygge is, it's a Danish term, and it's like a style of living. It's kind of cozy cashmeres with kind of some socks by a log fire, drinking a cup of hot chocolate. It's that kind of lifestyle, that kind of feeling that we're trying to buy into. We're trying to create a brand around that. So very much natural fibres, plant-based fibres, living with the seasons in harmony with nature, I suppose.
Very nice. Can you just lean into the mic a little bit more for me? Just so we want to make sure the audio is really, really, really there for you. As I say, it's a beautiful product. How much of a role is seasonality playing in this business?
Yeah, you guys touched on that earlier. As many of your brands, it's summer-based. We're absolutely autumn-winter-based. So when the sun comes out, I'm praying for some rain at the moment. So our products are very much aligned to kind of that cozy, cold feeling, that Scandinavian winter. So we're very much September through to May.
Okay, and where's the brand based?
We're based in London.
Okay,
we work at a Soho, a really nice Soho Works in Dean Street. So.
And where's the fulfillment and all of the sort of the practical stuff done? Is that also in London?
No, that's actually based in Gloucester. To give you some context, 2 years ago, we were still packing all the orders on a kitchen table.
Love that. Where all the best businesses start.
Yeah, it literally was that. My mum was self-acclaimed head of packaging. She did a beautiful job, but she could no longer do handwritten cards to every single order. So we moved it to a fulfillment centre in Gloucester.
Gotcha. Okay, amazing.
Such a nice touch.
You mentioned on the application, we touched on it in the pre-chat chat, 3 team members. Who are they? What do they do?
Yeah, so we've got an amazing, very, very small team. We've got a graphic designer in-house. We've got an e-commerce assistant in-house. And then we've got myself as kind of a head of marketing and overseeing production.
Gotcha. Okay, right. I want to get straight into these challenges because there's so much here to cover. So the first one you put down was the meta creative in UGC. Do you want to just expand on that? What did you mean? And what are you doing currently?
So like when we started the brand, we got, as you guys have pointed out, we spent a lot of money on a lot of time on creating beautiful content that really kind of buys into the lifestyle of the brand and kind of emulating that really cozy feeling. We did that for the purpose that when we were going to create meta ads, we were going to run these kind of beautiful branded ads that look so clean, so pure. But unfortunately, they just didn't convert for us. And I think many brands have that similar aspect. So our kind of biggest pain point was working out the type of creative that works for our audience. As of now, we've changed that to kind of UGC based images and UGC based content, which still has that kind of like luxury look and feel. But that we've worked out kind of really converts for our customers. They don't necessarily love to see that beautiful brand clean aesthetic. They do on our website, but they don't when they're purchasing. So it's for us, our biggest pain point is kind of working out the creative that's most likely to drive conversions for our brand. And,
So
and
what? So just give us a little bit more then in terms of this UGC. Give us some, paint a picture for us in terms of what that is typically looking like.
Yeah, so for example, we did it by just gifting influencers, really small influencers, small accounts that had a brilliant brand aesthetic
Hmm.
themselves that kind of mirrored ours, gifting them product, which in turn they do a UGC video for us. We'd leverage the UGC video, put subtitles over explaining the product, what problems it solved, um, why our product was different, the awards our products have won, and therefore just showcasing it to their audience. And then we kind of leverage that through paid social.
Okay. Okay. Right. So, and how much of that is still graphics versus motion graphics? So video stuff like that.
Yeah, we predominantly work on video, to be honest now. So I think 80% of our ads are UGC video based.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. And how long have you been using UGC then? How long since you moved away from? And I want to know more about what didn't work.
Yeah.
So, and kind of want to understand that a little bit more.
So I suppose we're very new in the UGC sense. We probably have
Hmm.
like a specific style we use. We don't do any like static images. We try to make it as tailored to the brand as possible.
Right.
Um, so that's just, I suppose, what we do. We just, yeah, we kind of cover off that selling the product through influencers and then leveraging that, so it looks kind of very authentic. We really did struggle with the brand piece. We'd had beautiful product images, beautiful campaign videos, which we spent a fortune on for the
Yeah.
purpose of leveraging it through paid social, but we spent a lot of money and it didn't work for us, and we were in a bit of I suppose a space where we were thinking meta's probably not the channel for us. We need to go to Pinterest, we need to go um, leverage this content on another channel. But we kind of pivoted, tried UGC, and it's worked. But I suppose our biggest pain point at the moment is kind of ad fatigue and what other content that we can be putting out, because there's so many different types of content you can use. So outside of UGC, we're kind of our pain point is trying to work out what other types of UGC we can use, what other content we can be putting out that resonates with our audience.
Okay. What kind of returns are you getting with the advertising you're doing now on Meta? How is that working?
So it's about 2.5 times spend.
Okay. And if you look back historically, has it previously been better? Has that been where
No,
it's
we
peaked?
we used to be at about 1.5. We were really
Wow.
struggling
Okay.
to generate clients to do that. But we've leveraged UGC and we've kind of increased our ROAS twofold.
Okay. And the types of what types of campaigns are you running in as much as, and are you going, across the UK in terms of targeting and sort of, because I want to go, I want to slightly veer away from creative. I want to check a few other things and then come full circle back to the creative.
Yeah. So we're predominantly running our ads mainly in the UK, to be honest. We do a
Hmm.
tiny bit in the Scandinavian market, but it's a bit saturated there. They've already got kind of Scandinavian-based brands doing kind of a similar
Yep.
um, sort of thing to us. So yeah, we're 90% of our spends in the UK.
And that is that all going into Meta?
That's all going into Meta, yeah.
Okay. So you spend about 9K a month, give or take, on Meta?
Sorry, yeah. So we're 50% split. So 50% Google, 50% Meta, but 90% of that Meta spend is in the UK.
Right. Okay. So we're spending about 5K a
Yeah,
month on Meta, give or take.
yeah,
And that's going to change with seasonality, yeah?
correct, yeah.
Okay. On a peak month, is it 5K or is that middle of the road?
Peak month is probably this year. We're scaling kind of really quick
Yep.
because we just we've only started utilizing UGC in the last 3 months, so it's kind of we've been able to improve our ROAS, and therefore when we get to our peak season, in 3-4 months when the rain starts in the UK, then we're going to probably hopefully lead to about 10K a month.
Okay. And how many campaigns have you got? If you think about your Meta account specifically, how many campaigns are you running right now?
We've actually only got two.
Which are?
One's just a broad-based audience, and then
Mhm.
one simply based retargeting.
Okay, so you have got an out-and-out retargeting campaign. Are
Yeah,
you feeding in, or what are you feeding into that retargeting campaign?
it's probably more testimonial based ads and a bit more UGC bottom of funnel.
In terms of the actual data that you're feeding in, are you feeding in your customer list? Are you feeding in your remarketing tags that are properly set up?
Yeah, we're probably not too well versed on that, so we probably need uh, you guys to review those kind of pieces. But I think from my understanding is the Pixel were just doing social race retargeting and website traffic based retargeting.
Okay. Are you uploading your customer list into it at all?
Yeah, so the basis of the seed audience is the customer list. Yeah,
Okay, good stuff. And what sort of numbers have you got on your customer list?
I think we've got around 17,000 customers.
Okay, good stuff.
It's good healthy number.
Yeah,
I'd
no, it
say.
is. It is. So, okay. And then in terms of the audience, the way you've set up the audiences, and the audience targeting within Meta, have you done much on that?
No, I think we're just learning. To be
Yeah.
honest,
No,
we're in that
that's exactly, yeah,
phase of
yeah,
learning and scaling and working out what works
yeah.
best for us. And
Because the reason I'm asking is I think sometimes we've seen it with brands where you're running ads, they're not converting. The assumption is the creative's not right. And sometimes that is absolutely the case. And we're going to talk about
Yeah.
the creative and different ideas and that stuff. But sometimes it's not just, it might be the creative, but it might be one of many other things. And it might be the targeting. It might just be that you're too broad. So, if you're spending 5K a month across, on campaigns now, that means if you're running 2 campaigns, if you split the budget evenly, you've got about £80 a day that's going into Meta. Doesn't that's not a huge budget. That if you're splitting that and you're trying to run to get statistically significant numbers, and especially if you're going UK wide, I mean there's 65 million people in the UK, it can be difficult to get the numbers to a place where you can actually see and judge and determine, is it the creative that's not working, or actually is it that we're not getting the data in, or we're not getting the ads in front of the right people?
Yeah.
Particularly if you've already improved the ROAS. Because the creative is always going to be a bit of a split test. But with any kind of split testing, experimenting, you've got to make sure that, are we first and foremost getting these ads in front of the right people? Because otherwise you can have the best creative in the world, but you're potentially writing off and going, it's not working. But actually, if you've only driven 200 people to it that have seen it on a weekly basis, that is not statistically significant enough to be able to determine the success or failure of it.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic point. But also, what I would ask is, what your campaigns are focused on, because we know that your brand from our pre-show chat, we talked about it, and your brand essentially is just you've got two branches, interiors and fashion. So which one is the one that you are actually trying to attract to the most through your ads?
yeah, so absolutely, we're focused pretty much all our marketing spend on interiors.
Yeah. So it's all going into interiors. But so how many clicks are you getting? Let's just simplify this down. So on an average month from Meta, do you know roughly how many clicks you're getting?
Yeah, so you're right in the sense that we're spending about £80 to £100 a day at the moment, because it's kind of low season for us, and it works out as about £1 CPC. So
There you go.
80 to 100.
Clicks a day. So if you look at the last calendar month, or just choose a set period, I'm just curious to know what's the impressions, what's the clicks. I just want to get a kind of a flavor of what sort of volumes we're doing into the account, and within that, what that looks like from a conversion standpoint and so on.
Yeah, sure. So it's about a 2.5% click through rate.
Okay.
So if you times that, that's about 2,500 impressions a day, generating 100 clicks. Yeah.
Have you got you haven't got the account in front of you, I'm guessing? No, you can't pull that up and just have a look through, because sometimes just getting the numbers to actually go, we've had 5,000 clicks, 10,000 clicks, and how many of that, because again, you're going to have quite a big disparity between those that go into your retargeting campaign versus those that are going into your prospecting campaign.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I've got it in front of me. I'll just log into
if you can. But these are some of the, I think that's one thing. It may well be that actually the creative, we need to look at that. But I think if we just think about the clients we work for, we absolutely go and look at the creative.
We do, absolutely.
And we can, and we'll come onto it, but you look at not just what you're doing, but what your competitors are doing. And that will give us really good insights. And you've got, Facebook itself and Instagram, they have ways that you can reverse engineer and look at what everyone else is doing. But as well as that, it's worth looking at, okay, what's the structure of the campaigns? What are we running? What are we targeting? What level of volumes of data are we bringing in?
Yeah, exactly that. And also, what we need to understand is the reliance per each channel as well, because that's very interesting point. So we just need to understand as well where the bulk of your traffic might be coming from, and again, the intent.
Yeah. So, Piers, let us know when you've got those things. So the creative, then, just while you're finding those numbers, are you doing that? You're doing that yourself when you were doing your own ads. So before the UGC, when you were doing your own ads, were you doing that yourself? How were you doing that?
Yeah, we would just be kind of leveraging kind of basic knowledge from YouTube, learning from different from
Sure.
different podcasts, looking for networking events, and we were just running, running our own ads really.
Okay. And how many different variations of an ad were you running? Were you split testing? Were you experimenting with different ads and so on?
Yeah, so we went quite deep on that. So we've got 6 different sets of UGC videos, and then we've got
Hmm.
6 different sets of PR
Okay.
UGC based images.
Okay. I need to know how many clicks you're getting, because if you've got
Yeah,
that number of variation, my instinct, without even seeing the data, is telling me I don't know if you're getting enough. What type of window did you let these ads run before looking at it and going, this just isn't working, this is working?
yeah. So probably about a month's window. And then
I don't. Yeah.
I've got all the data in front of me
Sure,
now.
go
So
for it. Yeah, just choose it like maybe the last full calendar month. What did that look like? Top line, clicks, impressions, and so on.
yeah, so our spend was a bit down on 2,500 a month.
Okay.
Our sessions were up at 3,500 a month, um, and our conversion value was 4.5. So just about a 2 ROAS.
Where are you pulling this data from?
Triple whale.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many sessions? Sorry.
So 3,200.
Is this from all traffic sources?
So this is from our Meta.
This is just from Meta.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can do all traffic if you.
Yeah, no, yeah, that would answer Con's question in terms of what reliance do we have
Yeah.
on Meta as a channel.
So
Yeah.
all traffic equals in that month it would be 18,000. So we're heavily on direct and we're heavily on
So you're about 20% reliant on Meta.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got okay. What's the proportion that's on direct?
Direct is 6,000.
Okay, so a third.
Klaviyo is 1,000.
Okay.
Facebook's 3,000. Google is 4,000, and organic and social is 3,000.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 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 No, it's not. Yeah. This kind of
It's
character. It's relatively familiar. That is
yes, it is.
in terms of
Yes.
breakdown. But that's good. Ultimately what you don't want as you're growing this brand is to have an over reliance on any one particular channel platform. We've got we'll send it to you afterwards. We've got the backbone of digital marketing. It's a concept we use to ensure a brand grows, but grows sustainably, grows in a robust way, that you don't put all your eggs in one basket, essentially.
Yeah.
We use this concept. We created it more than a decade ago, where essentially we encourage a brand. We say, yeah, look, we want to grow. We want to hit that million mark. We want to get to 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, whatever. But what is our reliance per channel? So you've just looked at the last month. What you want to do is look over the last 12 months. You can do this yourself. You can just get a spreadsheet, bit of paper, go through and look, okay, right now, proportionally, how reliant am I on the traffic, ultimately the traffic that you're buying? So that's any kind of ad, Google, Meta, etc., any ad that you're buying. What reliance do you have on the traffic that you own? That's your brand, and that's your repeat, which we're going to come on to. So repeating customers and so on. So people that search for your brand, i.e. people that know you, they transacted with you, you own that traffic.
Yeah.
Then you want to look at the traffic that you nurture. So that is the people that's your social media, not your paid social, but your social media. That's your email. So people that you are nurturing, you're building a relationship with. And then you've got the traffic, the visibility that you are earning, and that's your SEO when you exclude your brand. Very simple concept. You can do it yourself. You can look at your data and look at historically and go, right, I would guess, an educated guess would be, when you look back at this, you will see, okay, the brand is growing. We've gone from 650 turnover. Now we're 850 on target. We want to surpass 1 million. I would suspect you are becoming increasingly reliant on the direct traffic, the people. So your brand visibility is growing, which is fine, but you need to understand what reliance you have on traffic you are buying as an overall. So right now, if you put Meta and Google together, it's probably going to be about a third of your total revenue. That's fine. And we need to then think, as we're planning ahead, which of those 4 pillars are we going to become increasingly reliant or less reliant on? And are we happy with that marketing mix? Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. That's a really good way of looking. And when we're thinking about scaling a brand, it's what we do is we go, right, what is our reliance today per channel, per platform? How do we dial that up? So that's just a little segue, but that's a really important thing to do. So, but getting back to the first key challenge, which was this meta creative, I think if you're doing UGC, it sounds like you've got a good mix of different types of ads, which is great. But I think I'm not convinced you're getting enough numbers on the board. And particularly if you're making decisions with only a month's worth of data, and only 3,000 or 4,000 clicks spread across that number of creators, that would mean any one variation of an ad is not getting more than a few hundred clicks at most.
No, I would agree with that. I think this is where you probably need to put your consolidating hat on and just try to sort of shrink that number slightly. Just almost use the or just go down the route of finding the best creatives that always have worked for you, and almost I would say maybe even go by half.
Yeah. Piers, have you looked at what everyone else is doing? Have you looked at your competitors and reverse engineered what they're doing in terms of their ads, their creative?
That's a great point. We haven't actually really reviewed that. I mean, one of our direct competitors would probably be someone like the White Company or Soho Home. That's a great idea.
So few brands do it.
Yes, that's our first thing that we always do.
So many brands.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy because you're so consumed with your own brand, what you're doing, that so often brands forget to look outside their own four walls. We had it just the other week. When I saw a prospective client, we were talking to them and they were saying, we just can't get the cut through with our creative. That's what their main point they wanted to talk about is they said, we just can't seem to get the cut through with our creative. We're just not getting the traction. We can't figure out why. We've got a great product and so on. And actually we looked at what their competitors were doing. And we asked the same question. They said, well, no, not really. And we looked at what their competitors were doing. And fundamentally, there was a big difference. Essentially, in this case, what the competitors were doing were they were using a lot of what I would describe as rough around the edges, quite unpolished content that really showcased the lifestyle element of the product, the brand, really humanized the brand. Whereas the prospective client we were talking to, they weren't doing that. So theirs was very polished, theirs was very professional and slick. But actually, their competitors, not all of them, but a couple of the competitors that were really getting cut through, they'd gone a little bit rough around the edges, but a bit behind the scenes, a bit of the making of the product, the delivering of the product, the use case of the product, rather than just here's the product.
Yes.
And they only found that out because we showed it to them. We said, well, have you seen your competitors doing this? They thought, we hadn't even thought of looking. So definitely, my friend, go and have a look at what your competitors are doing. Yeah. And here's a top tip for you, really easy to do. If you go onto your competitors' websites, visit a few pages, have a poke around, you'll get retargeted by their ads.
Yes.
When you're next on Facebook, when you're next on Meta, you'll get retargeted. Yeah. You'll see firsthand what they're doing. So you don't even have to be overly clever and start looking in the ad libraries. You just go on their website, make sure you engage, maybe watch a video, click around, visit a few pages. Next couple of days, you'll see their ads. Screenshot those ads, do a video record on your phone. You've then got them there. You do that for a few different competitors. It's an exercise we do whenever we're working with a client, is we just spend 2 or 3 hours going through all of the competitors, all of their websites, screenshotting, recording what they're doing. We mood board it, and then that gives us a massive sense of what's happening in the sector, what's working and what's not.
And also what that will tell you straight away as well is just where you can be different, where you can bring some more value to to your audience. And that's I think that is probably one of the most important part of the exercise, because you really want to cut through the noise. You don't want to look like your competitor. You just want to show people that you are better than them.
Yeah, we're not trying to copy here, but what you want to do is take the best bits, take ideas from what your competitors are doing. But so many brands forget to do that because you just focus on what you're doing, and then you can often overanalyze, well, the creative's not working. But actually, we would, the two key things there, Piers, hopefully you take away from this is, one, go and look at what your competitors are doing. Does it align to what you're doing? Is it very different? Are there ideas that I can just tweak that and that's going to be lovely?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is actually, don't assume because your ads aren't converting or aren't where you want them to be, that it's always your creative. Sometimes it is, but I would say as often as it is the creative, it isn't when we look at the accounts we're working on.
That's correct.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think because of there's so many moving parts and so many different elements to make up for that success of an ad. I probably creative, if I'm perfectly honest, it's one of the very last things that we look at, because we always have to look at the very much technical setup. So so whether your pixel is firing up correctly, whether your retargeting tags are all working, if your if your conversions are on track and so on. So I would I think, because looking at the creatives, to be perfectly honest, they are absolutely stunning. I think the only the only thing that I would possibly say just to do more of is just something more emotion invoking, if that makes sense.
That's it.
Because obviously, as a marketer, you will know that people will remember how you made them feel. And I think with your product, you need to almost convey that coziness. You need to almost just show that unique selling point. Just show everybody that, oh yeah, actually, this is what it's going to make you feel like when you sit down in our just in your cozy little chair with your cup of hot chocolate.
It's that's such a great point. That's such a great point.
And I think looking at all these things, you will only then be able to just sort of pinpoint where that conversion problem might be coming from.
Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it. Piers, you mentioned you've gone from a 1.5 ROAS to a 2.5, which is great. That's a step in the right direction. Do you know where you need it to be?
Yeah, we want to get to a 3.5 ROAS to really make meta scale for us.
Okay.
I think just touching on your guys' point there, it's a really, really good point in the sense that, creating that kind of feeling, but we did it from necessarily like our own branded content. So I think people know it's like a very clear, like, own brand campaign video. I think once you look at our competitors, they'll be doing that through UGC. So we're doing UGC at the moment through just static images for them telling about the product. I think if we can get our UGC creative to sell that lifestyle for us, that would be the next step.
Absolutely.
I think that would make sense. That would, if we think about what's happening in the wider world, playing on that emotive side, that I think that leans into a lot of what we're seeing, what we're doing is tapping into. So I think that's a good shout. But I think you leverage those competitors and reverse engineer what they're doing and make I think there's some really good points there.
And just very quickly, sorry, just on the UGC point. So you did mention that obviously you had a handful of the influencers working with you, which is absolutely a step in the right direction.
Yes.
But have you got any program for your current customer base or client base that you would potentially try and push that side of things out? So essentially just sort of, just incentivize them somehow.
We do actually, we do kind of complimentary gift with purchase at the moment, which has worked really well alongside the UGC, if that's kind of what you're leading to.
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, to be quite blunt, I think people will look at it from the perspective of what's in it for me. If I'm going to promote this brand, I kind of would like to, almost get something from it. So, even if it's just calling them an ambassador or a brand ambassador, that potentially could help.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, great idea. We don't really leverage that, but great idea.
Also, Piers, the just again, it's such a basic one that's often overlooked. But within the ads, are you running incentives? Are you incentivized? Are you adding any scarcity? Are you adding any offers and stuff like that to encourage that click, that call to action?
Yeah, so similarly, we do a similar process whereby we offer a complimentary gift with purchase over £100, just trying to boost our average order value. So for us, we offer a complimentary sheepskin seat pad with all orders over £100, and it's a very kind of complimentary product. It's kind of adds a lot of value to the customers, and we actually find that people add 5 and then get the extra 1. So it's really helped boost our AOV, and it's really helped boost our conversion rate on site as well.
Okay, and is that the only type of offer that you've run so far?
We've split tested a few. So at Christmas, we did a specific one. So we actually have the most amazing cashmere socks, a bit more expensive than the White Company, and they're incredible. And we tested this kind of complimentary gift with purchase in Q4 last year, and it was so successful we ended up just running it for the whole of Christmas, and people just loved it. They got a free pair of cashmere socks worth £55, and they are absolutely amazing quality with all orders over 100. And it was really, really successful for us.
Yeah, I think with the key thing with Meta is it's interruption marketing. It's not search marketing.
No,
so people aren't looking for the product, therefore you're interrupting them, and therefore I think the incentivization, the give me a reason why I should click because I wasn't looking for this, I think is key. So it's a lot of the brands we're working with, we are using incentivization, be it discounts, offers, what you're doing with upsells, cross sells, all of that I think is key. What is your AOV? What is your average order value?
So it's around £185.
Okay. All right, good stuff. That's good. I mean, that gives potentially that's good. That's higher than I actually thought it was going to be, which is really good. Has that changed over time? Has that grown as the brand has grown?
Yeah, massively. So I think moving away from our fashion products, our
Hmm.
most popular products were kind of belts and clutches and purses, which are around 80. I think our most popular products are at the moment really our bean bags, and they're priced at 795.
Okay.
They're made in England from sheepskins, and they're so bloody comfy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've massively boosted our average order value by introducing those kind of like really high end products.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, if you can continue that trajectory, but as you say, just make that social channel work by just looking at the creative, tapping into, I think, that emotive thing, and making sure
Yeah.
that the call to action, the incentivization is key, and then looking at outside of the creative, the other elements, the campaign structure, the setup, the audiences, and stuff like that. I think that's going to be key. Well, I'm just conscious of time, so I want to make sure we get to the last of the marketing challenges, which was the customer retention, engaging that second order, because this is key. And this, as we said at the top,
Yeah.
this is a huge topic for us that
Yes.
we are doing for all
Massive.
of our clients, because acquisition, I'm sure you're seeing this, acquisition of those acquiring new customers is becoming more expensive. It is getting harder to gain attention. So do you want to just give us a little snapshot? What are you doing currently to encourage that retention and get that second order?
Yeah, sure. So we actually did something kind of off the book this month. So we went back to the kitchen table where my mum probably still sat there packing 2 years ago, and she wrote a handwritten card to every single
Mm,
person who ordered. We exported our Klaviyo, looked at our looked at the predicted average order value that we've got,
right.
exported that, and anyone who's got a predicted order value this year of over £200, we wrote them a handwritten card.
Nice.
My mum took, honestly, probably 36 hours writing 600 cards. We
Wow.
posted them all across the world. We spent about £800 on postage and
Yep.
£600. And obviously, I didn't pay my mum. So we spent about £600 on postage, and about £600 on cards. So,
Yes.
and it worked really well. We gave all our customers um, who had that predicted order value this year coming in £20 off, no minimum spend. So they just got literally a flat rate £20 gift card, and they can spend it on whatever they wanted. And we set it up with a card called Artisans and Handcrafted. Our
Okay.
best customers got £20. Our second tier got £15. And we found that really, really worked. Just kind of going back to basics and making it really personal for people.
Did you measure the
Um,
ROI on that? What did that return?
we probably spent a bit too much on postage in the cards. So
Okay.
we have got a really good return. We got like a 3x return on it. We only sent them out about 3 weeks ago, so I think half of
Oh,
them are
you
still.
haven't seen the full life
So we
cycle
haven't
of
we
No,
that
haven't
then?
seen
not
them
yet.
for
No,
full, but
no, definitely not.
it's just a, I suppose, a different way
It's
for.
great. I love that.
It's
Love
brilliant.
that.
Yeah.
Love lumpy mail. Physical
Yeah,
mail,
yeah,
you just can't be. I think that's great. I
yeah,
mean, kudos to your mum. Send our, you know,
yeah,
plaudits on.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
and and I think in the world where we are surrounded by digital so much,
Hmm.
people do quite like to see things popping through the post, which is not
Yeah.
yeah.
a leaflet from a takeaway.
The key thing though,
And
oh, sorry, go
literally,
on.
literally down to the address was handwritten. So I mean, who's not going to open
Amazing.
Yeah.
open
No,
a
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
are.
handwritten
yeah. That's
address?
amazing.
You know that's landed. You know that's being opened,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that will lead to that. I think that's great. Keep doing that as long as you can convince your mum to do it for you.
No, I think she's done. I think she's completed it.
I'm not surprised. But I think that's a great shout. The key question I've got though is that same customer list. Are you taking that and deploying that into Meta, into Google to retarget? Are you doing that?
No, we're not. So I suppose if you're looking at an e-commerce
Yeah.
perspective, we really aren't great at retention at the moment. So we rely on nursery flows and we rely on campaign emails as basically the basis of our retention. And
Yep.
we're, I suppose, at the moment looking for other ways that we can improve our retention.
Yeah. Well, the retargeting piece, you're doing some retargeting, but if you're not feeding all of that data, all of your clever data, if you're not feeding that into these platforms and
Absolutely.
then retargeting with an incentive, that is an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, and another thing that I would actually quite like to ask before you go any further is where are you with your email campaigns as well? Because that's another big piece.
Yeah, so we send out 2 campaigns a month, and then we kind of segment it between interiors and fashion, and then that's kind of the basis of our segmentation, really.
Okay. When you do your segmentation, or when you do your email streams, are they running sort of based on? So is the flow essentially dynamic? So people are being they get an email based on the action, or they just get the same email for the entire audience?
No, it is dynamic for
It is
sure.
dynamic. Okay. So with this one, actually, just the final question here. Have you got anything with your abandoned card?
Yeah,
Cards?
we run a 3-step series on abandoned
Oh, do
cart and
you?
abandoned
Okay.
browse. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
The retargeting piece to keep the brand top of mind, particularly if they've either bought or engaged,
Yeah.
is, I think, Piers, there is a huge opportunity for you. Whether you do it, whether you bring someone in to do it, I think make sure that I can guarantee you're leaving money on the table and you'll be able to get up that average at the account level, that ROAS, if you
Yeah.
do a better job and focus more time and energy on the retargeting. Because essentially you're building the brand, you're getting out there, people are searching for the brand, but you're driving people to the website through a
Yeah.
variety of different channels, which is great. But the facts remain that no more than 2 or 3% of people are ever going to convert in that moment.
Sure.
So 97, 98%, which is a crazy high proportion of people, doesn't matter how good the offer is in that moment or how engaged they are, they're going to leave. So the retargeting part, leveraging the different platforms, is absolutely vital to get right, and keeping those platforms, those channels topped up with data that is as fresh as possible.
Absolutely, yes.
So we've got data being uploaded on a daily for some accounts, weekly for others, just constantly being fed back in. It's you're capturing those people via your Google Analytics or your Triple Whale or these different platforms. Feeding that back into the system keeps the brand top of mind. It's exactly what I said earlier about you to do with your competitors. You go on their website, you then want to be seeing, ideally dynamically, you want to be seeing that product, you want to be seeing that offer, you want to be, you were on our website, here's a 10% discount if you limited time only kind of things. It doesn't need to be crazy complex, but just keeping that, because you will drive so much footfall back to the website.
Yes, exactly. And also what I would say as well, from that sort of data gathering point of view, I would say that when people visit on your website, or when they land on on your website, I would be very tempted to just pop a little pop-up there where you could harvest some extra email addresses. So for example, if you either incentivize them or just simply create something that will make them feel slightly more exclusive, like a Hyde Hare club or something like that, where you can just get those email addresses into your database.
How are you collecting data at the minute, Piers? Are you, because there's no pop-ups, there's not...
We do run a pop-up. So for example, as a luxury brand, we wanted to kind of stay away from discounting.
Okay.
So we run a £500 monthly giveaway instead.
Okay. I can see it actually in the footer of your.
Do you have something that pops up on the website or anything? Or are you shy away
we
from
do.
those?
We do. We set it to 30 seconds though, so we probably ought to split test that between 10 seconds and 30.
Is it based on scroll depth or just time?
Just time.
Because I'm on the website.
Interesting. It did not come up for me.
Let's have a look. I'm gonna leave that there and see if it comes up. I haven't seen it either. Yeah. I'm just gonna have a look and see. But I think 30 seconds. Oh yeah, it's come up for me now there. Yeah, monthly gift. Okay, fine.
Might be a little bit too long, if I'm honest.
Maybe.
Yeah,
okay. But yeah, I think these are some of the key things. And then you've got the pop-up, but maybe you could have it running along the top banner as well. Just so it's always there.
Exactly. And I think there is just few more ways to just carry on with those touch points, really. And I think you can still keep that luxury feel to it without
we've got clients selling products at significant price points, and you can still. I think Con's right. The data capture part is vital, because such a tiny proportion of people are going to convert in that moment. And this is a considered purchase. What you're selling here, not everyone's just going to come on and buy it. They're going to take about it. They want to show their partner, etc., etc.
Exactly, and I think that win our £500 monthly gift voucher, it's a lovely little incentive. But I think if you were to tie it in with something giving that extra feeling of exclusivity, that would work even better. So just if you could consider something like Hyde Hare Club or something like that, just nice and easy, but actually that just gives that feeling of, yes, I'm buying a Prime product, I'm going to be treated like a Prime customer.
Yeah,
for sure.
Piers, I want to move on. I just want to move on and ask you about what you said the business looks like when it's finished. Do you have, I sort of was jesting at the top and saying I was going to pull you over the coals on this, but Do you have a clear vision of what the business actually looks like in terms of turnover, size, and so on when it's finished, quote unquote?
Yeah, so we're really looking to capitalize on kind of that Scandinavian Hugo-based market, which there's no one really there. So we see it as like a 30 million pound a year market.
In what
We're
time?
actually in the next 10 years. Um, we're actually starting both events and trade this year. So we're going to be on the road, maison objet, both B2B and B2C events. So we
Okay,
really kind of, when you say where do we want to be in 10 years, we really want to evoke a feeling that like no other. So when you come on our stands, when you walk in our brick and mortar stores,
sure.
you can really feel that kind of that warmth, that texture. You can run your hand through our products and kind of buy into that lifestyle. So I think that's where we really want to get to. When I said kind of brand awareness at the beginning,
Yes.
it's known for that warm, cozy style of living,
Okay.
with
I
products
think
that
because
align with that.
that's yeah, no, that I think the more through experience, I think the more specific you can be in describing what the business looks and feels like. It doesn't have to be 10 years, it could be 5 years from now. But the more specific you can be in describing that, the more successful you'll be and the quicker you'll get there. And that's through
Yeah,
experience of working with lots of brands. So a lot of brands come to us, they say, oh, we want, Google ads, we want paid social, we want paid media, we want creative, whatever. We won't allow them to even discuss those platforms and the what and the how we will do that unless they are really clear and can articulate to us what the end looks like, what they're trying to build, what they're trying to achieve. So that's why we asked that question, because we want you to really think about, okay, well, it's a great brand. You're well on your way to doing your first million. I think if you double down on your retargeting, I think you'll get there even quicker. But beyond that, if you think a year, 2, 3, 5 from now, what does the business look like? Financially, when do we want to hit 2 million? When do we want to hit 5 million? And then, as you say, if you take that and then you use our backbone of digital marketing concept and go, how reliant are we on the different pillars, the different channels right now? Which of those have the most scalability? And then you can take that data and then look at, right, when we're going to grow, are we going to become more reliant on paid? What do we need to do? And that will then inform, what do we need to invest into this channel? What do we need to do with our email marketing? What do we need to do to further build our brand, et cetera, et cetera? Does that kind of make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
That's a really powerful exercise to do. And we know from the brands that we've worked with, for some of them for years now, them having that and us repeatedly going to them and, saying to them, right, what does it look like? Give us the
Mm.
forecast for the next 2-3 years. Give us that picture of tell us what the team looks like. Tell us how
Yeah.
many warehouses we have. Tell us what this looks and feels like. When they do that, they get to where they want to be so much more quickly. And there's one or two clients that come to mind right now that I know you're actively working on, Con,
Yeah.
that have done exactly that. And every year we reset and we go again and we go, right, where do we want to be at the end of the year?
Mm.
They describe it and we then go, right, we're all now very clear on what we're trying to achieve, where we're going. And then it just makes getting there somehow easier.
Yes, because then your performance is very clear from the get go, and because you track what you know effectively. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if you have
Yeah.
if you just have a woolly vision, if you like, it's just
So we're running out of time. So I just want to get in a couple of Piers's questions.
yes.
So Piers asked, one of the key questions was whether it's Triple Whale, which is a report tool at Google Analytics, what do we use as our kind of North Star metrics? Like what are the key metrics that we go to? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think for me, first and foremost, well, there's going to be two metrics that I would look here. So, so obviously your ROAS
Yep.
is what you need to be looking at, but at the same time, you need to look at things like your acquisition value.
Yeah.
So your cost per click and so on, and then you've also need to see how much money you are actually spending on retaining these customers as well. So you need to look at, how much money it costs you for them to return to you. So it's not just about the acquisition; it's about
lifetime value as well.
And lifetime value,
it's
yes.
looking at the lifetime value. Do you track any of that, Piers?
Yeah, so we're really good on our cohort analysis. So Triple Whale has some amazing, and I know Shopify does now. So they both
Sure.
have really great cohort analysis. So we're really dialed in on our kind of NCPAs and then our LTVs in line with that.
Fantastic. And what does that tell you? What's in lifetime value?
So we, on average, our average order value, as I mentioned, is 185. By month 3, we're on 205. So we added
Fantastic.
20 pounds, and our NCPA is 35 pounds. So in theory, in 9 months, we've broken even on acquiring that customer.
Sure. Yeah, fantastic. That's good.
That's
That's
brilliant.
good.
Yeah, so
I think that works. I think the other thing as well and I'm sure you've already got this covered off if you're dialed in on those metrics, but something we always again want to check and advise our clients to do is make sure that you're feeding the right information in.
yes,
That
that's
you know
correct.
it's
Yeah.
very easy to be over reporting, double tracking, particularly now with data driven acquisition. Data driven attribution, if I can get my words out, with that. So are you confident that what you're tracking is accurate? And do the different channels, when you look at Triple Whale, when you look at Shopify, do they align?
Yeah. So again, we've really tried to dial into those numbers, and to do that, we had to move to Triple Whale because there's so many different attribution
Yes.
models,
Yeah.
and there's so
Isn't
many
aren't they
different
just?
sets.
Yeah.
There's so many different sets. I mean, even triple attribution has their own model, which distorts sales. So we just had to we basically run off their linear all model, so we can kind of have like a very very clear model, and then we dial into the numbers from there. So Triple
Sure.
Whale has been a great thing for us to really I suppose get the most accurate numbers we can, and
Yeah,
therefore
perfect.
we
That's good.
draw
That's good.
LTV from
That's
there.
if you tick that box, good. It's never going to be perfect, but if it's largely aligning, then that's good because as you say, you've got different attribution models, different conversion windows, and so on. So it gets very technical, but as long as you've covered that off and you're confident and it's aligning, great, because there are a lot of brands that aren't. And if you're feeding the right information in, it's going to be informative. If you're not, as we've seen so many brands over the years that they think one thing, their data tells them for something very different, and they don't know how to fix it. They don't even know that sometimes that's happening. The last one I just want to touch on is content, which we've sort of looked at it, discussed it already. But you mentioned about how to spot ad fatigue and so on.
Yeah.
I think the biggest tip we can give you for that is look post the click. So don't guess. You need that statistically significant numbers coming in. So not tens of clicks. You need hundreds of clicks coming in within a week, a monthly period. But crucially, again, what brands just don't do is look after the click. So once they've clicked, what are they doing on the website? Are they engaging, or have you got high bounce rates? Have you got low engagement? Have you got pages that just aren't working for you? Reverse engineering that is how we can spot. They're some of the first signs of how we can spot ad fatigue. Is the audience is just not clicking, the click-through rates are dropping, the engagement's dropping. Therefore, we need to look at experimenting with the creative.
Exactly, and I would also add to that a couple of things that you can look at inside the platforms as well. So very often, Meta is going to tell you that your ad is getting a little bit tired and it's not getting enough clicks, or it's not getting the number of clicks that it used to get. And then on the Google side of things, when you are going through your assets, you can pull up the asset report, and then you can just essentially cross-reference the performance of your assets month to month, and you will see at which point the asset it went from good to low, for example, and that will tell you that this asset or this creative might need to be looked at.
Yeah, does that make sense, Piers?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, look, hopefully there's a few bits in there, but I think it's a great brand. It's a beautiful product.
Incredible.
It really is. Not so good for you that we're now coming into the summer. Great for a lot of our clients, but I think you've got to, as you say, now it gives you actually, in all seriousness, it gives you a great opportunity to double down on this in your quieter season. Really get those accounts well optimized, get that retargeting in place, and then look at the different creative, and then get yourself set up beautifully for the next peak season in the autumn.
Yeah, and just thinking about that as well, it's just I think you can be quite creative. Well, creative with your creative, because obviously we are going into a time when we've got your Mother's Days and your Father's Days and stuff like that, and essentially I think keeping on the top of the mind of your audience is the way forward. So so just get just like a little campaign.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
around getting your mum a
I'll rope her in
something
again.
like that.
Yeah.
It's just making sense, just to essentially, even if you don't get direct sales from it, then at least that brand awareness just keeps going. Because I think when you build a brand, that's the idea, just to be out there all the time, right? It's you just the moment you stop being visible, people start forgetting.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Piers, was there anything else you'd like to ask or go through?
No, I think just, I suppose my final question is when you guys talk about getting better at retention, obviously we're doing that kind of off-site stuff. We're setting up postcards, but our on-site retention, I suppose our Klaviyo-based retention is quite poor. What else can we be doing, I suppose, outside Klaviyo to improve our retention?
To further, for specifically online.
Specifically, yeah, to, I suppose, to re-nurture those next purchases from that customer outside of direct email marketing. What can we be doing?
What else could we be doing? I think what Con said earlier about, I think communities is a big thing right now.
It is a big
I
thing.
think a lot of brands are either creating community, they're leveraging community,
Yeah.
so that it goes, it's more lifestyle, less product.
It is, and especially from your UGC point of view, it makes perfect sense just to create more of a community vibe. Just to try and build a bit of a hashtag and just go and speak to people to kind of talk about you. Just sort of keep nudging these conversations. But also, when we looked at your website, one really interesting things that you've got is you've got a nice, you've got quite a few sections on the website that could potentially lend themselves into becoming something like an information resource. So when people are interested in in certain products that you currently have, or when they are researching it, just make it as engaging as you possibly can. Because from the journal blog, I think that reads beautifully. And like, for example, you've got that 6 must-have cowhide rug styles for your home and stuff like that. I think more of it, and just keep people engaged with your website more and more. And don't be afraid to upsell either, because I think one of the things that you possibly could get more value out of your blogs with is just interlinking and so on, which will be, well, just make it slightly more prominent, because the links that you have got within your blogs are a little bit lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would do it this way. And also one thing from the UX point of view as well, which I would suggest from the retention point of view, under your blog you've got your Instagram stream. Potentially above that, I would be tempted to pop in the link to the, not link, but actually the little carousel of products from the category that you're currently describing on your blog. Yeah. So when people finish reading, they straight away can actually just go and research all the all the products from that line.
Yeah, amazing.
There you go. Piers, look, thank you so much for being on. That hour's absolutely flown by, hasn't it? Flown by. I've had a lot of fun with this one. Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully you found it useful to get a few takeaways there. Do keep us in the loop with how you're getting on, because it looks like the brand, you're doing a lot of the things right, which is great. Absolutely. For a business under $1 million to already be doing and covering off some of the things you've said is great. So there's a lot of positives there that I think you've got a lot of ducks in a row, which is great. And I think you're set up. So I don't have, if you implement some of those things we've covered today, I don't have any doubt you're going to pass that 1 million pretty soon. And I think it's going to be getting those second orders up. If you can increase that average order value and that lifetime value, which is already moving in the right direction, I think you're set. So, Piers, thank you so much for being on, my friend. Stay in touch, and if we could be of any help, we're only a phone call away. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed that.
Thanks so much, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
Piers.
Take care, Piers. All the best.
Take care, guys. Bye.
That was fun.
It was great.
He's a lovely
fantastic.
guy. He's a switched on fella, isn't he? He's
incredibly.
He's doing.
Yeah,
love that. And I love the fact he's using his bum.
Yes, I
we all
love
need
it
to
so
use
much.
our mums more,
really
particularly if they're so forthcoming with writing 600 letters. That is unbelievable.
And it's an ambitious brand, obviously, and obviously with everything that is going on, because it's just in the pre-chat, we have found out a little bit more as well about the investment they're raising and everything else.
Yeah, no,
and
exactly.
Obviously, trying to increase that marketing spend and the budget it's phenomenal. I absolutely love that. And the ambition and the beauty of this product, it's going to make
it's a great product.
Successful.
It's a nice website. I think they've got a lot there to be really excited about.
Plenty.
I think the as I say, the keys for Piers there is the creative. Yes, maybe it's we haven't been able to see all of the creative. So I think the creative maybe it's something that it needs to work on. But I think above and beyond that, it's look at everything else before the creative, exactly as we do. We look at the creative, but there's probably 10 things we look at before we get to the creative. We don't make assumptions that the creative is definitely the problem. And then I think it's that customer retention. It's really it's building that community. It's and that's so true for so many brands is you get that first order. It's just staying top of mind, isn't it? It's just, and then it's incentivizing them. I know he said he doesn't want to discount. That's fine. Some of our brands don't discount, but it's then you've got to tap into that lifestyle piece.
Exactly
and you've got to make it. You've got to really just, as I say, remain top of mind.
Yeah, and I think for me, the key thing for Piers is going to be very much just sort of being being exclusive and staying exclusive, and just because the brand is so premium that everyone who buys it will want to be part of that premium club.
It's such a good point. And I know Piers is probably still listening in the wings. And it's such a good point that I think one of the things that we didn't touch on, but he's going to have to do is become the authority,
the authority
in
the space. Exactly that.
But not, and you were touching on it with the content he's got to create. He's got to really place himself as the expert, the go-to. If you want this type of, the Scandinavian feel, that if you want that, the brand has got to become synonymous with the topic. And I think that is, if you can become synonymous with the topic, with not just the product, but actually what encapsulates the product, that's where the magic really starts to happen, particularly as you scale. It's generally a little bit beyond where he is. Once you get into that sort of approaching a couple of million turnover and you really want to dial up to 5 and beyond, that's where it's like, okay, now become the authority in your space. You've got some traction, now build on that. You're off to the races. Absolutely.
And I think what is quite exciting about this particular brand as well is that the hygge is such a big thing across Europe anyway. And it was obviously brought in by IKEA, and well, they call it IKEA these days, don't they? Give me an ick. But and just thinking about that, it's just such a big thing, because it's a very much a lifestyle piece and a lifestyle that people really crave.
Yeah.
And I think on the back of that's so much that Piers could do. It's just getting that emotion out, isn't it?
It is. Darren's, don't give me daggers, because we've got to. We've overrun. We've overrun, so we need to wrap this one here. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Grow with Evergreen. We're off. It's lunchtime. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.